touch the sky. Well, you cry out and you don't know why. Come on now, let your feet fly. Come on now, let's go for a ride. Come on now, let your feet fly. Oh, let it fly. Come on, come on. All right, welcome to the Red Couch.
Hey everybody.
Hey,
Hello.
I'm Izzy.
Well, Ash Wednesday
Zaf, everybody, is our special guest here tonight.
in the snow.
In the snow. He got all the way here in the snow.
On the day that the music died.
Oh, it is today.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
What died today? Music?
Buddy Holly
The
Oh.
Big Bopper. Today was the day that plane crashed.
and Richie Valens.
That's right.
Oh, heavy.
That's a while ago.
There's three of us.
But fortunately, we're not getting in the plane.
No, we can ride this couch to the end.
Who didn't end up in that plane? I forget now.
Well, it was
Willie Jennings.
Oh, yeah. So
Waylon Jennings, who was the bassist in Buddy Holly's band, and also Dion DiMucci of Dion and the Belmonts.
That's right.
And he was supposed to have a seat on the plane, but I don't know who.
Who gave up their ticket to Buddy?
Yeah,
Somebody gave the ticket up to Buddy, their seat to Buddy.
or the Big Bopper or Richie Valens.
They like
Yeah.
rock, paper, scissors or something for it. Yeah, something weird like that.
Something weird happened like that. Now that's bizarre, that is. When that happens, that's
Not
just
good.
checking these. Yeah, okay. All right, so Zaf, musician, writing books, everything like that, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm doing
yeah.
a bit of acting in the trailer that I did based
Oh.
on my book.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
And based on your book, now your book's name, I love it. Say it for us.
How Not to Find Work.
I love it. Show your work. No, you don't want. We don't get involved with those people. But anyways, that is such a great title. When I heard it, I just started laughing.
Thank you.
We'll link to that book. We'll link to where can people buy that? Probably all over the place. Amazon, blah blah blah.
Amazon, and then if you want, if you want to support a bookstore, you can buy it at Book Warehouse on Broadway.
There
Oh,
it is.
that-
Go to
that's
Book
a-
Warehouse.
Book Warehouse on Broadway. Yep.
No tariffs there.
No.
No tariffs there. Yeah. That's great. So, what else was I going to say? Just checking cameras, folks. We always
Well,
do that.
that. So somebody optioned that book already?
No, we decided, not yet, we decided to shoot a trailer on it, so 3 scenes, and then we also did a teaser on it. And my friend Blaine 3A, who's a director, he was also the keyboardist in New Pornographers. filmed
Right.
it.
Right.
So yeah, and then we have the comedian who plays the main role. His name is Zafirios, and then I had some of my friends act in it, and I did as well.
Very cool.
Dude,
Very cool.
that's dope.
That's
Yeah.
really good. And I hear the book is doing good.
Yeah, it sold out 4 runs at Book Warehouse, and then we
4 runs, folks. Wow.
That's the way.
yeah.
That's the way to do it. That's great. So what's the book about? Let's talk about the book.
Okay, the book is
Then let's talk about rock and roll.
okay. That's the plan. The book is about a university graduate who has a degree in Renaissance studies. So
That's big money.
it is, yeah, it is big money in curation. So he has to go to the employment agency called Golden Staffing Solutions.
Yeah.
And this woman, Stephanie, sends him on some strange jobs, including one for this marketing company called the Guava Sky, and his boss there is, let's say he's very peculiar, and his boss also has some gambling habit as well, which reoccurs later in the book. And then it's also Mick, the character, his relation with his dad, and his dad gives him unsolicited dating advice, and then it's also him hanging out with his friends in his old neighborhood that's rapidly gentrifying. His friends have a
We know a
pizza.
bit about that.
Yeah.
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 Well, yeah. I mean, it's part of it is based on kits the way it used to be. So.
Yeah, okay, that's what we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there's lots of references to music in the book, and the part of it takes place at some clubs that he frequents with the ladies he meets, and there's an all-female punk band named the Maenads.
There's always a punk band, girl band in every movie now. I don't know.
There should be.
I think it's
there
every
should be a
guy's
punk-
fantasy.
There should be a punk,
Every
punk
musician's
band
fantasy.
everywhere, and every gig should have a girl punk band too.
That's a fantasy, I think.
It might be. So you meet those girls. We know you girls.
Yeah.
Love you.
Yeah, and the Maenads, well, that's based on classical mythology of these women who would worship Dionysus and get drunk and party and dance.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. Yeah, that'd make a good movie for sure. Door references. Jim Morrison reference.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
That's
that's wicked.
great. No wonder you got 4 runs.
So is
Already I'm liking this.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I know. I wish I knew about this book before this. I would have read the book at least before that.
Yeah, well, so I would love to do a film or a TV series based on it.
That's a good idea.
And is that the idea with this trailer that you shot? That you're going to take this and shop it with the trailer?
Yeah, that's what I'd like to do. I put it up. It's on YouTube.
Oh, we'll link to that too.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Got that, Ken?
Yeah, Ken will get that. Yeah, that's fantastic, actually.
Yeah, it's wicked, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that really
thanks.
is. That really is.
And I'd like to film it around Vancouver. There's so many great places to do, and I mean something it takes place in a mythical city, but it's very Vancouver. I mean, just about going out to see music, and then neighborhoods that rapidly change, and then trying to figure out, Can I swear on this?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not a family show, no.
Okay.
I don't know. Some of our, hi buddy. Some families here. My daughter's over there. I know.
Close your eyes. Close your ears.
Just for this one word, yeah, he bullshits himself into thinking that this job he has is good, but his friends see through it. And I mean, he sees through it eventually too. Yeah, and I mean, there's also a scene where he has to deal with an accountant. Well, he's actually a finance guy who has a black Les Paul over his office, and it's just a collector's item. So there's a bit of commentary about people who buy musical gear or just expensive status symbol gear.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, right. Yeah.
And this accountant.
That's interesting.
That is interesting.
Where did that come from?
Yeah, right.
No names mentioned.
No names. Just some observations by creativity.
You'd have to be careful around it because he's probably writing a new book now.
That's right.
What's going on, Joe?
That's
I
right.
can use Joe and Ash in his character movie. That's really good. That's really good.
Yeah.
Good
This
observation.
finance guy is saying that he's the rock star of this age, and the character narrator wonders how is that possible?
That's hilarious.
I read an interview with Duff McKagan, and he's talking about he's just getting his shit together, and he's hanging around with these guys, and they're like what are those things? Those bicycles, you go out in the
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Bikes.
mountain bike. Yeah, they're a bunch
Yeah.
of mountain bike guys, and they get wasted, and the next day they're like, "Oh, we party like rock stars," and Duff McKagan's like, "What does that mean?" And they said, "Well, we party like mountain bikers."
Yeah, saying that to somebody like Duff.
Dude.
What's the wrong thing to say?
Yeah,
That
exactly.
doesn't work, man.
It doesn't work.
No.
That was trying to be impressed. They were trying to impress him. Right?
Trying to be cool, yeah.
He doesn't give a shit about that.
No.
He's been there and done that.
Oh, his heart stopped during the interview, right?
Oh,
Kidney
yeah.
falls out.
Oh my God. So you're thinking of making do a movie out of it, right?
Yeah, I would love to do that.
Okay, that's interesting.
I mean, it's,
Well, we know for sure people who do that are watching this, so.
Yeah, and you know what? I love the title. The title's great.
thank you.
So
Yeah,
good.
the title of the book is really good. It's just the minute you hear it, you start laughing. This is great, right? I thought maybe when I first heard it, I thought, gee, this would be probably a good. I said to Ash, this would be a good title for a book about slack-assing, doing nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, basically like being lazy, right? You know.
Speaking of, you're a musician as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's a good segue.
Oh God.
Yes.
So how long? Yeah, he's had an album out which is really good. You know what I like about you is like in your stuff, you know, you don't sound like a lot of people, and I'm really impressed by that
Thank you.
because I told him that. Like, I mean, you know, I told Harvey once. Harvey says, "Oh, what do you think he sounds like when he sings?" And I says, "He sounds like Lou Reed." And I says, and then he told me, he said you were doing a thing, and I went, and Harvey goes, "You were right." And I says, well, it's not about being right. I says, he actually sounds like Lou Reed. He doesn't, I'm not saying you copy Lou Reed.
No.
You have that stylistic sound like Lou Reed, and it comes across, and I think it's unique because not a lot of people sound like that, right? And that's impressive.
Thank you. Well, I mean, wasn't my intention. You end up sounding like who you are. And
Yeah.
I sing in a baritone range. I mean,
Yeah.
with rock, it's more common for singers to be tenors, and I think it's because it cuts across the volume
Yeah.
more the frequencies. But I mean, there's some singers who baritone like Lou Reed or Dave Gahan from Depeche.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which I really like him a lot.
Yeah, or
Yeah, he's really good.
or Jim Morrison.
Yeah,
It's-
another
it's-
baritone, yeah. Like Elvis, right? Because that was his favorite singer. Jim Morrison's favorite singer was Elvis Presley.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, I thought he also liked Sinatra too.
Yeah, he likes Sinatra, but he was a big Elvis fan because if Elvis's bass player played on the L.A. Woman.
That's right. That's right.
That's why they got him.
Was that Jerry Sheff?
Yeah, that's why they got Jerry Sheff. They got Jerry Sheff because he requested him. Because
Yeah.
he says, you know, I want Elvis's bass player or drummer. He couldn't get the drummer because he had, what's his name, playing drums,
John
right?
Densmore,
So
yeah.
Densmore says, you're not getting him, you know.
Yeah.
We'll get the bass player, right? So they got the bass player to play on the album, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's,
Tony
yeah.
Jagger and I were talking today. We're talking about Danzig. Same idea, big, deep motherfucker voice.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, Danzig, I think Glenn Danzig, one of his favorite singers was Roy Orbison and
Oh,
Elvis. So
wow.
I mean, you hear.
Elvis, Roy Orbison,
Yeah.
and Morrison for sure.
Yeah, but you know, Roy Orbison, wow, that's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
whole other dimension of a voice. He can go down there, he can go way up here. His falsetto was unreal. He had a range that was incredible, right?
Well, yeah, very operatic.
Yeah, very operatic, very classically
You
trained.
know what I thought was cool about? I was listening to like Peggy Sue or something like that, and the drummer, whoever the drummer is, you guys probably know. I don't know.
Jerry Ellison.
There you go.
Yeah, from the Crickets. Yeah.
Yeah.
No cymbals, man.
Yeah,
Oh.
Just boom, ba, boom, ba, boom,
yeah,
boom, ba,
yeah.
boom.
More jazzy sort of style, right?
Right, and then it made sense to me. Oh, that's why America freaked out about this jungle music. There doesn't have that on the board.
Well, they felt that way about jazz too, though.
Yeah, I guess so.
Kids with Gene Krupa and all that sort of stuff, which
I thought that was
very, very much.
wicked when I first heard it.
Yeah.
When there's no cymbals in that. It's wicked.
Yeah.
So it's like Adam and the Ants or Bow Wow Wow, and you know, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, yeah.
Or two drummers and no cymbals.
Yeah, it's cool. It's
So
different.
heavy, man.
So his music is like that. When I see, you know, your songs, the songs you write are very characteristic songs. You know what I mean?
Thank
Like
you.
each song is very characteristic. It stands out. When I watched you play and listen to the songs, I could tell which, you know, this song. Okay, I know that. Oh, I remember I heard this one the time before. Yeah, and I can tell the difference in the styles, right? Of the song,
Yes.
the character of them, right? And
Yes.
and that's important too. That's a sign of a, you know, like most people say, that's a sign of a good songwriter. You're writing
Thank
good
you.
songs, you know. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I mean, I think that's, I mean, what if I have to say what my strengths are, I'd probably put that first.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I feel more comfortable about. But I mean, since I was a teenager, I've always been analyzing songs about what do I like about this song? What do I like about this chord
Yeah.
progression, or the melody, or the lyrics, or the phrase, or
Mhm.
you know, you also know some songs it's not verse, chorus, bridge. You know, they might put the chorus at the beginning, or they might put the bridge at the end. And the thing with songwriting too is you can be very creative about it.
Yeah.
You don't have to exactly rhyme a word to. You can have a close
Mhm.
rhyme to that.
That's why I love like television. They didn't go verse chorus. It was just like drone out or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
I always thought that was dope to me.
Well, actually, our second live gig, we opened for Richard Lloyd from television
Well,
at the Railway. So I mean, that was just,
dude.
yeah, that was incredible meeting him, and then he played through my amp, and I felt like it was
Wow.
blessed.
That's
Yeah, well, the railway is not happening right now.
That's
That's too
pretty
bad
cool.
about the railway. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's too bad the railway. I'm thinking, I've been hearing a lot about that lately. I'm wondering if the railway will, somebody's going to take that back over to talking about.
well, we talk about it a lot.
It comes up in a lot of our.
Everybody loves
with
it. Everybody loves that
A lot of
place,
musicians
man.
talk about it when we're on the show. They go, "Oh, the railway," and I'm going like, "Wow, okay." So it keeps popping back up.
Yeah.
Something's got to come out of
I
the
think so
ether sooner or
too,
later.
Yeah, well, I mean, it does. It's just, I mean, just needs to be, I know I'm stating the obvious, but run well, and I mean, also more, I mean, just musician friendly too. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it was like back in the day.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, and when Janet owned it and her brother owned it, when they owned the business, they ran, like we said, they ran it really, Janet was very tough, ran the business very professionally, and ran the bar. She also did Spirited West, right?
That's right.
And she ran it things very seriously, and was, you know, she would give you an opportunity in her room, but it came at, you know, you better do a good job, you know, like if you're a new band and stuff. She was watching for that, right? But all the time. But I've you know, they had, I remember what was it, 80s or late 80s, early 90s. They're having bands like, you know, Crash Test Dummies,
Yeah.
you know, Art Bergman, like Who's Coming Again, you know, like bands like that were playing in that room. You know, Jeff Healey. I walked by one night, Jeff Healey's playing,
That's
and
Yeah.
the guitar playing was just incredible, right? You know, and it was just like I decided to go in. You know, I said I'll pay the cover. I'm going to go in, right? I'll pay the ticket price. Oh yeah, Joe, come on in. You know, we're pretty full, but come on in. And this was on a weeknight on a Thursday night.
Yeah,
Wow.
right.
You know, he's doing a cross Canada tour, and Vancouver was Thursday night. Friday night he was in Victoria. But it was just like, you know, like wow, you know. So I went in. I said, I gotta catch this, right? You know, and see this guy play because I've seen him on TV and
Yeah.
videos, and then I watched him play. He's just wicked the way he
Wow,
played.
yeah.
Right? Oh, he was
Yeah.
a real
Yeah.
great played. He was a phenomenal guitar player. Yeah, and the bands were good back then. And like you said, when he's opened up, what's his name there for the
Richard Lloyd.
Richard Lloyd, yeah, yeah.
That's so good. That's a good story, man.
Yeah, it feels more like a dream or just one of these lucky circumstances.
Yeah,
Right.
probably a bit of both. Yeah, a bit of both. Yeah.
Yeah, and also hustling too, but just being at the right place at the
The
right
right time.
time and asking about it.
Right on. So, all right, are you now? You've got the book out, and looking to maybe do a film.
Yes.
Back to the music. Are you writing right now at all? Are you releasing any stuff? What's going to happen?
Well, I actually wrote some new songs end of last year, and I've got a few more and we've been rehearsing, and then we're playing this Lou Reed tribute night,
Oh, when's
And-
that?
March 1st
Where?
at the Princeton.
March 1st at the Princeton.
Yeah,
We're going,
excellent.
Yeah, I'll come down. Yeah.
for sure.
I'd like to catch it. So now, like you're doing what, the Lou Reed sort of stuff, like we were saying off camera before we started?
It's one song off Blue Mask. No, actually, it's off the album New Sensations, and the song's called New Sensations. It's 84 era Lou Reed, so after Blue Mask. And then the song I want to do B-side called Nowhere at All, and that's mid-70s, so it's not Velvet Underground era, so it's different era. So I mean, that's the show we've got planned. What I'd really like us to do is a Vancouver Island tour,
Right.
because that would be, yeah, a tour of Nanaimo, Duncan, Gabriel, Victoria.
Port Alberni?
Sure, why not? Port Alberni.
Port Alberni's on his way.
Yeah, so does in the band that tribute the Lou Reed thing, do you do Velvet Underground stuff too?
No, it's just two songs from his solo career. From one song, New Sensations. Which
Oh,
is,
it's like a bunch of guys that are doing.
oh, sorry, that night.
Yeah.
Sorry, I misunderstood you. So it's people doing songs from throughout his career. So I mean, Velvet Underground and solo.
Cool.
Yeah. So
I'd be very interested to see the whole thing. So is it starting?
Headbangers up there doing that Lulu record.
I was just gonna say that. Have you heard that?
Yeah, one time.
How was it?
Not good. Or it wasn't good to me. I don't know. It didn't sound like Lou Reed or Metallica to me.
Yeah.
It sounded like I don't know. I'll try again. Sorry, James Hetfield. I'll try again.
Yeah.
No, I didn't like it.
Well, you're being honest.
Yeah.
I like Velvet Underground.
I like a lot of weird stuff. I like Trout Mask Replica, man. Like I like that.
Yeah.
But I didn't really like Lulu.
I like Velvet Underground stuff because it's
Oh, I
psychedelic.
love that
It's out to lunch sort of stuff. Kind of reminds me the East Coast version, the West Coast version, Country Joe and the Fish.
I liked how horrible and dangerous that band sounded, and how fragile Nico's voice sounded. That's what I really liked.
Yeah, interesting.
Well, actually, the first time I heard the Velvet Underground, I thought they were horrible.
Oh yeah.
That album.
Oh,
and
sure, yeah.
And then I listened to it again and again, and then I thought, this is
That's it.
great.
Yeah,
Because I mean, the first Lou Reed song I heard, a friend of mine in high school played me Sweet Jane, but it's the live album with Steve Hunter and Dick Wagner, and I mean, the 70s powerhouse session guitarist, and I thought, this really rocks.
Mm-hmm.
And then I heard Velvet Underground, I thought,
Too wimpy.
yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And then it grew on me. Then I began to really love it and
There's tons
appreciate
of
it.
records. Like the first time I heard Venom, it's like this is the worst thing that I've ever. And now,
Well, it's
love
like
them. I
it's
love
it's
that.
like when I was watching the Monterey Pop Festival and I watched Country Joe and the Fish play, right? And I thought it was just like, what's this, right? You know, and I thought, man, these guys are right out of space again.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
who are these guys? Their faces are all painted, like the 60s designs and stuff, and they're playing this whining lead guitar, and then the guy comes in, and you just go like, what the fuck is this? Then you listen back I go back and watch it again. I go, this is pretty groundbreaking shit for the time period.
Yeah.
Like nobody's doing this, and because all the other acts are I would consider more mainstreamish, but not, because back then it was all breaking new,
Yes.
breaking new stuff,
But those guys were even a step beyond, right?
They were like, they were, compared to like Hendrix and the Who, they were way out there. Like, I mean, Jimi Hendrix for the time period was way out there. But but not like these guys. These guys were just like really out to lunch. I mean, they were close to being like listening to Miles Davis. It was kind of like rock music, like experimental, huge experimental. Just like Miles Davis would do some jazz stuff that was just right out to lunch, right?
And that was before Miles Davis was doing experiments.
It was pretty much around the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, Miles Davis sort of had that kind of experimental stuff going on in the 60s too, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, late 60s. He's probably joining the trip that they were all on at that time, you know.
Yeah, right.
A lot
I was gonna say
of
that.
fun stuff going on at that time, yeah. They were probably all experimenting, yeah.
Well,
Right after each guy meets Ken Kesey and
Yeah, no sure they.
yeah, I bet.
Yeah, well, you know, even when I listened to stuff back around that time too, I listened to I listened to the other day and I thought, you know, and the Stones were doing the same thing as the Beatles at this point. I listened to 2 songs that George Harrison released with the Beatles, and one was Blue Jay.
Blue Jay Way, yeah, that's
Wow,
pretty
what a
trippy.
trippy song! Have you heard that song?
No, I don't
You
know
should
that.
listen to it, and another one.
I've heard of this band, the Beatles.
Yeah.
I never actually listened.
Now listen to it. It's
I
so
should, I
trippy.
should.
No, it's so trippy. I was like, I'm going like, I forgot how weird these guys
There's
can
a
get.
fog upon LA.
It's just bizarre. And yeah, you wouldn't think that, right? And then Inner Light,
Yeah.
that Inner Light one, that's another wild, bizarre song right out to lunch. The Rolling Stones around that time were doing that man.
Satanic
Yeah,
Honesties.
yeah.
So-
Which was like great album too. They were all following that kind of experimental trip, right? They were all on, right? They were experimenting with synthesizers.
Yes.
Yes, at that point, right? And that was pretty groundbreaking, you know? Yeah, at that point, you know? There's pretty interesting stuff, pretty trippy shit at that point in time that I kind of go like, I watched that stuff, but I must have missed it.
It's like me and N. Dillon right now. I think he's going by N. Dillon. They've been writing songs together, and he's a killer guitar player for sure, but also fucking around with tons of like computer stuff that's just, yeah. Anyway, I think maybe or maybe I'm behind, or I don't know, man. It's I love that stuff though. I love that stuff.
I don't think-
Or like when Scratch Acid came out of fucking Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck is that? Or Crass came out of fucking England, just twist and change everything, and
Yes.
everything, fuck everything
There's-
else, and this is what we're doing now.
there's a
And
show-
the whole world kind of goes, and I think that's what you guys are talking about.
Yeah,
in
well,
that,
his music's
like
is,
that.
it goes is leaning that way sometimes.
Right.
It's written well, crafted, but you could take it in another direction.
break it into the.
That's what I
break
think.
into the
That's my
music. I
style.
love
Yeah,
that.
and I mean it's also with the bands we can extend songs out, and I mean they're on the album they're 3-minute pop songs, but I like to extend things out to 7 or 8 minutes.
Yeah, like the
Yeah,
old days.
jam on it.
Yeah, and I mean also get the audience into trance, because people fall into trance like states after a certain amount of time, 7 to 8 minutes. They only had 3-minute songs that, or 2 to 3 minutes, because that's the amount of time they can fit on wax.
We got DJ Chibisky back there, who's our favorite DJ. You
Yeah.
can't see her she's here. If you follow her, if you know who we are and what we do here, you know who she is. She's back there, but she does that, and we'll just twist music out. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I was thinking that, what was I saying? When you just said that, I'm thinking Grateful Dead. Because Grateful Dead can do one song and it goes a half an hour to 40 minutes.
Yeah, right.
I went to a Grateful Dead show once, one time. I said, I gotta go. I'm not a huge fan, but I'm gonna go and see. Jerry Garcia is a wicked guitar player. I
Yes.
don't. Well, the whole band is really good. The
Yes.
players, whether you like the music or the playership, is just like wow. Okay, they're really good. And I went to the show, and they played like 3 songs all night. And it was like they did a 2.5-hour show, and they only played 3 songs. Because they just jam into one song and it'd go for, break into different areas, and they would twist it and bend it, and you go like, at the end, I got what they were doing. Like they were doing the trance thing, because you're right, because the people in the crowd were all grooving to the different feels and the different beats and the rhythms, and they would, hey, I says, I get it. I get why people are having such a good time at these shows,
Yeah, yeah.
because they don't do a cookie cutter show. They just like, okay, let's play the open end. And what they do, they open up with this one song, and they would end with that song after 2.5, 3 hours. They go back to the beginning of that one song to end off the show.
Yeah.
So if we get to the Princeton at say 5, then by 11 you should be done your second tune.
Yeah, well, yeah. In an ideal world, well, it's also, I mean, another reason why I want to stretch things out more is because I've been experimenting more with sound and amplifiers with my guitar and some of the pedals I have, and I've got this amp from 1950, and it's just,
What is it?
it's a Gibson GA20. It's a small amp, but the thing is, it's probably one of the warmest amps that I've played through. And then I've got these other, some tube pedals, and then some other, well, one tube overdrive, and then this, some pedals from England. One's a fuzz and one's an overdrive pedal, which is the loudest overdrive pedal I've used. So you put that with the amp, and it can get a really good volume for a room. And so when you experiment with sounds, I know this might sound a bit new agey, but you're
We're
bathing.
so into it.
Okay, well, yeah, do you want to do Reiki after this?
Oh, a bit peckish, I guess.
Is that like a noodle Reiki?
Probably.
Could be.
Yeah,
Let's assume.
yeah. But yeah, it's just, you know, you bathe people in sound, and then you know, you use with certain, I guess, tubes, and then also with certain effects that you play through an amplifier, and then if you have the instruments balanced correctly, and also with harmony singing, because we do 3-part harmonies that can, yeah, thanks, yeah, it's just that's something, I mean, you have to work on, but I mean, still, you can get people in a kind of trance. I think that's what people are looking for, because it's just, I mean, we're on our phones so much,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
and I mean, it's, people are getting burnt out, they're getting a loss of pleasure, because it's just their dopamine is used up so quickly being on the phones.
Oh, yeah.
And
It's
then-
very addictive. Like, phones are very addictive.
Sure.
I never thought I'd say that, but I'm starting to see that the phones is really addictive.
Yeah,
But then you just, I'm sitting at home, and sometimes I'll be watching something on the tube, and something interesting, and all of a sudden pick the phone up and start doing this and looking
Yeah, right.
at shit, right? And looking something up. What do you say there about this? And I look at, and I'm going like, what am I doing?
yeah,
Then I take the phone, I put it down, I go,
good.
it's like, hey, stop it.
You know, like Joe hangs out here a lot, and will often not. You'll often not have it on you.
I don't bring my phone with me.
That's good.
Folks,
Yeah.
I don't bring it with me. I don't want it. It's like, I trained myself, like, the phone is like the old phones at home. Like, if somebody wants to call me, leave a goddamn message or text me, and
Yeah.
I'll get back to
I
you.
won't listen to the message, but
Remember
Yeah.
those phones? Remember the
Oh,
phones
way
with
better.
the messages? Machines?
The
How we do
phone-
anything.
No, the machines.
Oh, right.
yeah,
Oh, right. Okay,
Hey,
the landlines.
everybody used to be so excited, right?
yeah, yeah.
Please leave a message after the beep. Hey, this is me. I'm not home right now. Yeah, I know you're not home, idiot.
I remember the first time my grandparents had like a cordless phone. I called my buddy. I was like, "Guess where I am? I'm on the front porch." The first time I saw a cell phone, I was on Granville Street, and the first time I saw a cell phone, I saw two. I saw one guy on this side of Granville Street and one guy on the other side of Granville Street, and they both had cell phones. And I was like, "Why doesn't he just talk to him? Like he's right there."
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause I didn't know. Why
Yeah,
did-
good point, yeah.
But it wasn't that.
No.
No.
It's just they have to try it and have to do it.
Yeah.
It's
Crazy.
pretty much the way things are. Yeah.
Well,
You're right. You're right about the cell phone thing. We'll get back to their attention span is going.
That's why things like going to gigs, man. Like the
Yeah.
phones don't matter anymore.
No,
Yeah.
It's just and just dancing around and
yeah,
your homies and all that. I fucking love that stuff, man.
and losing yourself in music
Dude.
too,
Mm-hmm.
because we're coming out of COVID, and it's just people were isolated for so long, and
I think that's part of the reason why I think people are more addicted to their phones and computers
Oh,
now
for sure.
than ever before.
For sure.
yeah,
I really do. Yeah, you're right. Because they were lonely for a long time, right?
yeah,
Self-isolating, right? Which they had no choice in. Yeah.
yeah. And so I mean, it's just now coming out of that. It's just people can, you can be around others at shows.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's important to do that. I think that, like you said too, like when you do longer songs and like people get into more of listening to the groove and the sounds and everything. I think that's really important. And if you notice, a lot of young kids do that too. Right? Like a lot of the music is trending that way, right? I mean, there's a band I'm going to go and see. Maybe Friday night I might go, and they're at the Forum. They're called Notch 2.
Okay.
And they're kind of heavy sounding, but they got all heavy duty computer sounds, Simpson sounds
Yeah,
going,
right.
and it's almost like a trance dancing thing too. But it's got all this cool stuff. And I listened to it, and I thought, you know what? I've never been to a show like that. You know, it's an all ages show, and so I said,
Right.
I'm actually gonna go
Yeah.
and check this out and see what something like that I have not been to yet, you know, or have not done in a long time, and go and check something out like that and see what the trip's all about, right? You know.
Yeah.
It's
See,
like these guys, when they go to shows, it isn't what we go to.
no,
They
imagine.
go.
No.
And they all go. And that's
Yeah.
wicked.
Yeah. Well, they probably go to this show that's coming up.
Probably something like that.
Yeah. I'm
Not,
good.
Notch 2.
Notch 2, check them out. I listened to the stuff. Not bad. I mean, you know, I listened to a little bit of it and then a couple more times listened to it, and I thought, you know what, I hear it on the phone or, you know, whatever, on a computer. I said, now I want to actually go and want to experience this live and see
Yeah.
what this is all about, right? You know, how the like you say, because songs are long. I want to see how the people are relating to all that too.
Yes.
I want to see how the vibe is in a venue for that kind of show, right? It's one thing to hear that kind of music.
Yes.
It's another thing to go and see it live. I think it leans more towards being live almost than it does lean towards the record, depending on how well the song is actually crafted.
Yes.
You know, that's what I think. So you're getting back to you on the new material. You've got new material. Are you going to be recording it soon? When are you going to?
I want to record it soon. I mean, it's just this band is getting the songs fleshed out more with their parts. and-
Yeah.
Who are you playing with?
Well, our band is called Zafirios, so it's
Oh, right. Okay.
and
Right.
on bass is actually the original live drummer Amos Resnick, who great drummer but he wanted to move towards bass. Well, he was open to playing either, but I said, oh, why don't you try playing bass? And then that allows him to sing harmony vocals. And then we have on drums Colin Bacqua, who's from Lyon, France. But
Yeah,
was
that's
in-
the guy, man. Yeah.
yeah, but he lived in Montreal. He played in this band called Saint Polaire, and he has a tenor voice, and he sings while playing drums, and it just
That's great.
it just adds.
It's hard to get a drummer who sings too. That's always like I had Mark for a while, you know.
Yes.
And Mark was a really good singer.
Yes,
And a lot of
yes.
people said that to me. Like first thing when they heard Mark, they go like, "Oh, you got a drummer who's got a good voice," and that's really important because there's not a lot of that around, right? Most drummers don't do that, right?
No, because a lot of I think most drummers that just want to focus on playing drums. Which,
Yes.
Which I get because it's
It can be pretty physical, right?
yeah. I think it's the most difficult instrument in the band.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And I mean, because you're multitasking, but but when you have someone who sings, then they can multitask as well. I mean,
Don't do that.
don't do that.
A
Why?
bit drumpy.
You do the Trump thing.
Oh, sorry, that wasn't meant to be YMCA. Are you gonna put a
Did you hear what Bill Maher says about that, right?
what do you say?
He says he's doing that too. What he said the other day was hilarious. I gotta say it, folks. What he said was, he says, you know, I'm making fun of him over the campaign trail when he was doing this. He says, but I really know he's so masculine, but he's doing the dance with the band while he's with two guys on stage, and he's doing it. Says, make it to what you think it is. So he did that on the song.
That's Okay.
I'm thinking of Trump. I know.
Okay. As long as there's no tariffs on this interview.
No,
No.
not for 30 days.
Not for 30 more days. So anyways, you're flushing out the material.
Yes, and it's actually what I like about the material, the new stuff that we're working on, is it's a bit stylistically different from what we usually do,
Cool.
and we're having more harmonies, and there's a bit more syncopated rhythms, and there's sorry, the musician talk. If I'm going.
No, you've got
Sure.
tons of musicians that are out watching.
Okay.
Tons,
Hey,
tons.
Tommy. You know, he's
Ton-
watching.
Yeah, there's tons of people.
Tommy Lee.
Don't, yeah, no. Well, he could be. No, Tommy Stewart, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
tons of people.
Yeah, there's some arpeggio chords. So I mean, what I would love to do is some live footage of these new songs, have them really recorded well.
Yeah.
And I mean, what you guys do with the live streaming, I think that's the way to do it.
It's like I said, we just did that show the other night, Friday night. I think we're at about 1,800 right now.
That's great.
And it's only Monday night, so we figure by midweek it should be like 2,000, maybe 2,500, maybe by the end of the week. Maybe.
Yeah.
That's usually how it goes.
Joe's band played here in the barbershop. 2,000 people watched it, man.
Wow.
Dude, that's
Yeah.
the Commodore
Couldn't
in
fit-
the barbershop.
Yeah, yeah. It's the way that it is. A lot of people have been saying that to us, like, you know, like what you said there is true. It is the wave. It is going to be the future, right? Even Zafirios said that the other day.
Yeah.
They said, you know what? That's really smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is where things are going. I says, yeah, you have to think like if the venues are not going to be full, because see the thing is, you know, the younger people they don't want to go out to venues, smaller venues or mid-sized venues to see people. They want to, you know, something that they're going to be able to relate to for starters.
I think
But-
they like either great big bangers or real small.
Yes, yeah, I agree with you. So I think with this, the net, you know, the different platforms, you get people watching it, and it's what I said. It's like talk about classic stuff we were talking about earlier. It's like watching the Ed Sullivan show. It's a variety show sort of thing.
Right.
Where you go and you watch a band back in those days, like could be the Stones or the Beatles on Ed Sullivan, or the Doors or any of those people, and you watch them for the first time and you see them on a TV show. And when you see them on a TV show, you're entertained, right?
Right.
And that's what my whole thing was about, was okay, I could play, I could film it at a bar, sure, and that'll be fun too, but when we get in a controlled environment, we can do it ourselves, and the audience is right there, like this is what we're doing, they're right there, and they can watch it anytime they want to at their convenience, and and the numbers grow, right? Because what's happening is people are, haven't tuned into a lot of that, right, for a long time, right? And there's new people younger people doesn't, they maybe see clips of these bands playing on these TV shows, like whoever, like, the Smothers Brothers used to have all their acts and stuff playing on there.
Yeah.
Johnny Cash did. He used to have a variety
That's
show.
right.
He had rock acts on his show back then, right?
Yeah.
It was pretty cool to have all these variety shows with these great musicians playing, right? And that's all not there anymore, right?
Well, and also the shows, these variety shows with different genres of music.
I know,
you have
which was the
different-
best.
Which, I know, well, it just seems like lots of shows now, they just have acts who are of the same genre. And for me, I like seeing things that are a bit different from each other.
I'm more like that too. I used to say to people like, why do I want to? I love to eat steak, but I'm not going to eat steak every day.
Yeah.
So why would I like the same variety of stuff? I mean, like, even like Ash when he plays a lot of the '80s stuff,
Yeah.
there's a big variety of it. He doesn't just play one style. He plays a lot of variety of stuff. And when I come in here and sit down and rap and shoot the breeze, I'm listening to all kinds of good stuff, right? The scope is pretty different, right?
Yeah.
And the other night when we went to see Los Fieros down at the rickshaw, what a great show, and you know, I haven't heard any ska punk stuff for a long time,
Yeah.
and I told them, I don't know if they appreciate it or not, I just said, you know, this reminds me of when I would see the Specials.
Yeah.
Really?
Right.
Wow. How could they not take that well?
Yeah.
I mean, I says, I went and saw the Specials open up for Boomtown Rats once, and I says, Specials were great, like they
Yeah.
were just like so much fun.
Yeah, they are.
They are just
Those guys,
such a good band.
Saturday, those guys were awesome, man.
They were really good last night.
Thanks again, fellas.
Yeah, it was
So
a very good show, and it reminded me of that time period too. It brought me back to that kind of time period, and so yeah, I like you. I like a lot of variety too.
Yeah, yeah, and I think too with doing these, I mean, we want to record these new songs, but put them out live because it's just, you know, in this day and age, there's not really the record labels for encouraging original music because I mean we're at a very peculiar time, I think, because record labels, they want to buy catalogs of older music and because they see that as a low risk strategy,
Yeah.
but
Because they don't know what's going to happen next, right? Which is sort of their fault, because no offense, but what bothers me about them is they go and they put these one-hit wonders out,
yeah,
and so they think, oh, I'll make money off this one hit, this one song that probably sounds like the same song last week. You know, offense, it's what they do. I mean, I heard a song today on the radio, and it was usually the station plays I'll mention the station because I really like it a lot. I was telling you guys, it's the 106.3 or whatever. It's the
peak.
it's the native station.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's the original station, and it's really good. They play everything from rock, punk, blues, even jazz. They go all the way back to even some jazz stuff, like Louis Armstrong, way old stuff, right? Then they'll go zip right back to something else that's from the 80s, and whoop, something over to the 50s. And I fell in love with the station because, like I said, I said, this is great. It's taking me this way, then it takes me over here, then it takes me over here, and I'm just like, oh, I haven't heard this song for like 8 years, you know. Oh, this one's really good, you know. I mean, today I was listening to they played some really old, like, Billie Holiday song.
Yeah.
And then they went right to, what's that guy's name? I'm trying to remember that rocker in the 80s, early 80s, late 70s. I'm trying to remember his guitar. What's that guy's name? Oh, they went to that, you played it here before. It'll come to me. Rock on. See,
David
they
Essex.
played, so they went from
Yeah.
that to David Essex.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, wow, what a
Love that
change,
song
right?
so
You know, like,
much.
and then, you know, it was such a cool stage. Then I went to like Led Zeppelin or something, right? You know, and they didn't play like you know, the standard clip. They did like Dazed and Confused and played the whole damn thing, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and you're going like, I haven't heard a station do stuff like that in a really long time, right? You know, they just do the gamut. They run the gamut, and I really like that, you know. And then they play a Buddy Holly tune will come out of nowhere, or something, right? You know, it's like really good, really good.
Yeah.
You know, so I think they pigeonholed. And anyways, they played one song today that I could tell it was out in the 2000s, and it sounded like a Beyonce sort of thing, right? So very kind of soulful.
Yeah.
Actually, pretty good. Actually, the song was really good. They had they had the voice tuner on it. You could tell.
Right.
You could tell they had the voice tuners on it. They didn't use the voice tuners on the main voice. They used it on the backgrounds, which I found very interesting.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. And I listened to the song. It had a hook line. It was pretty good. But then I thought, you know what? I bet if I flip to a station that plays all that kind of stuff, the next song will sound the same as the last one.
Yeah.
Because there'll be the voice thing on there. There'll be the way the drum beats are played. The samples will be pretty much the same. And then it bores the hell out of me. Because, no offense, I get bored if it sounds all the same after a while, right? You know?
Yeah, and I mean, I just think with art or music, I mean, the most exciting things happen when you take risks with it, and I mean, and getting back to record labels, I mean, this day and age, you have to be your own you have to build your own audience. That's the way it is. On one hand, it's tough because you don't have a label pouring in money
Yeah.
to you to work on what you do, even though a lot of musicians have learned the hard way. That's not a gift. That's a loan that you have to pay back.
That's right.
But on the positive side, it means, you know, you can create the music you want and you can put it out there and you can see if an audience comes to you.
Yeah.
So you don't have to rely on
Yeah. What you gotta do,
gatekeepers.
that's what is good about the internet. Like we're saying, like you wanna, like one record label friend of mine, he owns his own label, a fairly big guy. And the guy, he used to work for the label we're on still, and he said, you got to lower, by streaming all your live shows, he says, you guys are lowering the bar to the bigger side acts in the world. That means you when you play, like we said, play the Commodore, like when we played, say, the Roxy the last time, we were talking about it, we played the Roxy, we got 2,000 people like in about an hour. Like it was unreal. And for us, it kept going up. Went up to about 3 at the end of it. But we got 2,000, and we finished with walking out the door and packing up out in the back alley. And there was a band playing the Vogue from the U.S. I forget the name of the band. They've been around in the 80s, and they had the Vogue holds like maybe 15, and I don't think, no, 12, around 12.
Okay, there you
Around 12, I think 12, 13, Harvey said. So so we had 2,000. So our label said, see,
Yeah.
they just finished coming all the way up from the U.S. to play a 1,500 seater, which they probably do that almost every night.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you guys played one night in a venue, and you get to go home and sleep in your own beds, and just play for 2,000 people.
Yeah.
He says, give yourselves a big pat on the back because you just did the right thing.
Yeah.
You
It is.
saved money, you didn't waste time, and you got in front of all those people, right? And that's important, right? Not in the poor band who's been knocking themselves out and drowning everywhere, right? I get it, but there's an easier way to do that, right?
Yeah, and I mean, that being said, I mean, I would welcome that opportunity to tour and play in front of those people
Oh yeah.
and in different.
But you can if you're getting those numbers.
And you can do
Yes.
both. You can do both.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I like to do both.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Is do both. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you get your numbers up, and that's how you
For sure.
Yeah. And we still do that when we go play like the Princeton.
Yeah.
We have people coming in who saw the show on the film, right, on the stream show.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they'll come in and go, we've been watching you guys on the stream, right? Oh, okay, good. Yeah, we want to see you guys live. Oh, great,
Yeah.
So you're drawing people.
That's so good.
Yeah, that's the way you got to do it, right?
Yeah.
Because then you attract people. That works, right? And what you guys are doing, yeah, it's good. It's going to have dividends too.
Yes.
Yeah. So before we wrap up, March 1st.
At the Princeton, our band Zafirios will be playing the Lou Reed Tribute Night. Couple songs. We've got an album up on Bandcamp. We also have some performance videos on YouTube. And yeah, if you're a book warehouse on Broadway, pick up a copy of it.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Name the title again.
How Not to Find Work.
How not to find work.
Yeah. So
I can't stop laughing.
That's so good.
That's so
It's
good.
so good.
That is so good. All right, Izzy,
Ash.
and
Zaf.
Zaf.
thanks for coming down.
Thank you.
You're at 25.
2564 East Hastings Street. Come and get a haircut. I could use a haircut.
You can
We
use
could
it.
I need a
We
haircut.
could all use a haircut.
Yeah, Republic of East Vancouver. Bye.
I'm not getting a haircut.
Peace out.
Thanks, everybody.